Hey guys, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined today by Chris Kerber from Neosi and Johnny from Some Call Me Johnny to give our choices on what Disney worlds we'd like to see in Kingdom Hearts 3. So let's get started. So guys, we just had our long discussion on Kingdom Hearts 3 in general, but we didn't talk about the worlds, and that was on purpose. I saw a lot of people request, like, hey, you should talk about what worlds you'd like to see come into the game. And, you know, we've already gotten a few where we have the return of Twilight Town, we have, of course, Hercules, and then the new one revealed was Tangled. So, obviously they're going to be diving into a lot of the new stuff, but one of the most fun things to discuss when it comes to Kingdom Hearts is just what worlds will pop up. We have the ones that we kind of expect and, you know, not that big of a surprise, like, Aladdin or Lion King or something like that. And then we have the off-the-wall ones like Nightmare Before Christmas and Tron. So it's always fun to see what kind of worlds they're going to try to bring in. So I thought it'd be fun to just join up and see which ones we'd like to see. So let's go ahead and start with Johnny. What world would you really like to see in Kingdom Hearts 3?
Can I start with what worlds I really don't want to see for Kingdom Hearts 3?
Sure,
why not? You know, I there are just worlds that I think have been done to death already. I know some of them are mainstays, but I don't want to see Agrabah anymore. Mm-mm. I don't care about Atlantica. You could bring Olympus Coliseum back because I always did like the arena-based combat and all that. But I'm just sick of those worlds. I want new things. Kingdom Hearts 2, you know, had Land of the Dragons, Beast's Castle, and Tron. Those are pretty cool. And I know there's going to be returning worlds, like plot important worlds, hopefully like Traverse Town, Twilight Town, Radiant Garden. Spoiler warning for Kingdom Hearts 2. But yeah, I'm really hoping the new world to old world ratio is. Well, I just hope there's more new worlds this time. I don't want to see the other ones. Go away. But in terms of new worlds, I'm having a hard time reaching back into like the 2D hat with Disney. So I want to see more 3D stuff, namely Pixar. I know I'm beating a dead horse saying that. A lot of people want to see Pixar worlds. I've been hearing a lot of requests for Frozen. Especially now that Tangled has been revealed. Mm-hmm. And I like to see that. You know, I enjoyed Frozen. It's not the greatest movie ever made, but I think the world can be a nice little ice level for the Kingdom Hearts universe. And Pixar, I want to see an Incredibles world. You know, everybody just has superpowers and all that. And the reaction commands, my God, just for the reaction commands alone.
Oh, just to see Sora's superhero outfit.
yeah. Oh, God, no spandex? No capes. But Toy Story. You know, what Kingdom Hearts game had like a Woody and Buzz Lightyear model that was in the coding that was unfinished?
Final Mix 2, I believe.
I think it was for a summon originally, but I want to see a Toy Story world, you know, like giant toy. Yeah, everybody. I don't know anybody that didn't like the Toy Story games, like the Super Nintendo 1 and Toy Story 2 on the PlayStation and Dreamcast. So let's do that with Kingdom Hearts. You know, travel across the giant blocks or Hot Wheels racing, and I would love to see Toy Story above all other worlds.
On your comment about not wanting to see a lot of the old worlds returning, Nomura has said that they're going to have more worlds than Kingdom Hearts 2 and not nearly as many repeats. They're going to be doing a lot of new stuff, which I think sort of blows the door open for what worlds we could expect to see. As far as not wanting, of course, Atlantica back or some of these other ones, like a good Atlantica replacement to me, Finding Nemo. Put Finding Nemo in there, and we can do all kinds of fun things with that. Maybe have a pseudo boss battle against Bruce the Shark, and crazy stuff like that. I think, and you could still kind of use the way that Sora looked in Atlantica. Not really, more Donald and Goofy. But I think there's a lot that they could do with Pixar, but not all the Pixar ones. Like I can't see them having a world based on Up or Wall-E. I don't think those would work. As for a crazy prediction, and this is twofold. One, we'd get something completely different, and two, this feels like something that Disney would demand in order to get a lot of kids to be interested in the game, along with Frozen. I guarantee if we're going to get Pixar worlds, there's going to be a Cars world, because that is one of their most popular franchises. It sells gangbusters to kids, and honestly, I wouldn't mind it too much because it'd be something different. Seeing Sora and Donald and Goofy transform into cars, having different type of combat for that sort of thing, races that you could do, even if they just focus on races, it'd be a different kind of mini game that you could get in Kingdom Hearts, and they've already had racing mini games before in Birth by Sleep. It'd be better to have this kind of context to me, though.
Kingdom Hearts Moonwalker.
Oh gosh.
Sort of transforms into a car and just hightails it out of there. I'm ambivalent to that, only because I never enjoyed the Cars series. Because I think it was like one of the rare Pixar movies that was specifically targeting one demographic instead of all ages, because I just didn't get the humor. It wasn't for me, so I don't have any feelings towards Cars. But hey, I mean, the idea of transforming into a car is pretty neat. So yeah, I like to see it in that regards, but in terms of everything else, no.
What about you, Chris?
So I've had this discussion with many people. In fact, we might have even talked about this before, like off camera, for all I know, but off microphone. Sorry. So I have a few ground rule things in terms of my thought process about this, because I do put a lot of thought into it. Number one, and most importantly, and Nomura has talked about this, and I think the other staff too have talked about this in interviews, is that first and foremost they have to think about how the worlds fit into the grand scheme of the game just as a game. Because, if you have, say, like for instance the whole crux of the Jungle Book thing, where it's like if we have two jungle levels, both Tarzan and Jungle Book, it's like it's two jungle levels that could look way too much the same. So one thing that needs to be kept in mind is that from just whether it's Disney related or otherwise, you have to think of the variety of, like, we have a space level, we have an underwater level, we have an ice level, we have a haunted level, etc. You think about the tropes of like Banjo-Kazooie, where you can kind of determine what each kind of area more or less is, and then go from there. So there's that for starters. But and also actually on the same note, you have to think about the associated character with that movie, and if they would be, joining you, if they would be fighting alongside you, and how they would exactly work in you being part of the plot of this Disney movie in a way that is not too intrusive or weird or whatever. Even though they take a lot of liberties on how exactly it goes, of course. But so there's that. And then my other kind of ground rule. This is just a personal thing. I am going to be that guy, and I will say that I don't think we're going to get any Pixar stuff in Kingdom Hearts 3. And I also don't think we're going to get any Star Wars or Marvel stuff. I think that they are going to use Kingdom Hearts 3 to finish up the rest of the traditional, like, I guess, first party, quote unquote. It's not in that same kind of terminology, but the main kind of just Disney, straight up Disney stuff. And save all of the other, like, more out there, crazier stuff like Marvel and Star Wars, and even Pixar. I mean, obviously Pixar is still like mainly Disney, but you know what I mean. I think they're going to save that stuff for 4, because I think that with the fresh start of 4, disconnected from the whole grand scheme of the Xehanort saga, I guess you could say, I think that will allow creatively and story wise for them to be a little bit more outlandish in that stuff. That said, as far as the returning worlds, and maybe worlds that I don't want to see, not so much the ones that I don't want to see, because I've just kind of come to accept that, like, they're going to pick whatever works best for it. Returning worlds, I do think, for better or worse, we're going to get Agrabah again, mainly because, one, Gilbert Gottfried confirmed that he was recording on the game, and second of all, if John, this maybe makes you feel a little bit less annoyed about it, if at all, I think that this will be an adaptation of Aladdin and the King of Thieves, which could lend itself to being a much more interesting Aladdin-themed stage, because it would not be in Agrabah, it would be beyond it in the desert, and out in the ocean to the giant turtle island with the Hand of Midas is and everything. featuring Aladdin's hot dad.
Hey, we could get Jonathan Rhys Davies in here. I'd be down with that.
Yeah, or Bob Joles, if so. But so I think we'll definitely have that. Some other ones that'll be returning. I mean, obviously we have Hercules. I think there's a possibility we might get the Lion King stage for some Lion King 2 stuff. It's certainly possible, but we'll have to see how that goes. While I'm on that, you guys help me out. What are some Disney sequels to worlds that we've already had, or at least like parts of those worlds that we haven't been to yet that you think might be brought back? Even if you're not a fan of that particular stage, what do you think might be brought back before we delve into the completely new stuff?
Yeah, see, the thing is that a lot of direct sequels to classic Disney movies, especially the Renaissance age period, are just
Yeah.
It's like I don't I know I've seen Lion King 2 a few times. I did get my jollies from that a long time ago, but everything else, like I never saw Return to Neverland, so I couldn't help you there. There was other direct sequel, like Little Mermaid sequel. I don't know anybody that watched that.
Here's one to start with, actually. So we had Deep Space in Birth by Sleep, which was the Lilo and Stitch level, but covered basically the first 5 minutes of the movie. I think, for instance, we could get Hawaii as a level.
Wait, are we progressing through story or going on a vacation?
The west of Lilo and Stitch is very possible.
I don't think so, because I think that's the explanation for how Stitch shows up in Kingdom Hearts 2 randomly. Like, he's just sort of there. It's like, no, he fell in the Hollow Bastion long ago and then just now pops up. Unless they have some sort of story to figure out how Stitch gets from Hawaii to Hollow Bastion at some point.
That's an awesome plane.
I mean, I'm sure that they look, there's very easy ways for them to BS things to just make it into a setting, I mean, that's still very possible. I think that's not super likely, but it's certainly up there for just because it's like, okay, you think about like Hercules, like we only saw the Colosseum in the first game, and then the Hercules level in Kingdom Hearts 2 wasn't based on sequels or the prequels or the TV show or whatever, but it was exploring other parts of the movie's world that we didn't get to go to, which was the underworld in this case. And in this time, we're seeing Mount Olympus itself, at least in theory, based on your analysis video. But there's cases like that in some of the other ones where I think that actually does apply. And same thing like for instance Neverland, the quote unquote Neverland stage in Kingdom Hearts 1 was inside of Captain Hook's pirate ship, and then right outside of Big Ben, which was on Earth, and then we didn't actually get to go to Neverland itself until Birth by Sleep.
Yeah.
So that's another case, for example.
So there is ways they could do that. I mean, let's go through. They've covered the entire story of Mulan. They've covered the entire story of Lion King. They did all that prequel stuff with Pinocchio, with Dream Drop Distance. That's the thing, is a lot of these, like even Nightmare Before Christmas, they finished that up. Heck, with Tron, they finished up the plot by doing the Tron Legacy stuff and Dream Drop Distance.
Yeah.
They kind of left it hanging because, what happened to Tron? I don't know. They just screw him.
He became Rinsler.
Yeah, and there you go.
Port Royal. I mean, we certainly could get, Pirates of the Caribbean 2 stuff.
Yeah, but I don't
wanted to go that route.
I don't want Pirates of the Caribbean 2 stuff.
I mean, it's possible, though. They very well might do that.
Fight a giant kraken. If you fight a giant kraken,
okay, there we go.
If you get to fight the kraken, I would die.
All right, yeah, okay. There is cool things, but it always has looked weird seeing Sora next to Jack Sparrow.
That's something else too. I think that they might make a little bit of a further effort to make Sora fit into the different worlds this time. I think that maybe if not like his rendering, or because they talked a little bit about this, I think in some of the recent interviews, that the rendering and the shading style and everything will fit better in each individual world. Maybe we'll get some more costumes and stuff for him and Sora, Donald, and Goofy, depending.
But yeah, otherwise, I think a lot of these worlds that we've gotten so far, we've gotten the complete story for most of them.
Yeah, which lines up with the fact that Nomura has said it's going to be very few returning worlds. I'm sure we'll get a lot of the basic other ones, like, we got Twilight Town in there. We'll probably have Hollow Bastion or Radiant Garden, that is.
I do have one. Alice in Wonderland. I think we're going to go back to Alice in Wonderland. We might go back to the other Disney princess worlds from Birth by Sleep as well, and I'm not sure if that counts as new worlds or not for Nomura, but, we kind of got their complete stories in Birth by Sleep.
Because you were talking about the Princesses of Heart in your analysis video regarding the special moves and everything. I wonder about, like, how are they going to go about, like, integrating them into the story in terms of, because in Kingdom Hearts 1, we didn't go to all of their worlds. They were just, a lot of them were just there, towards the end because Maleficent had collected them, So it's very possible that, they might just be around and not necessarily, or you know what? Maybe even that's what Riku's doing. Maybe, like, there's little mini levels of, Wonderland or the Dwarf Woodlands and the individual places where the princesses are. If, say, maybe, Riku's mission is to go find them and, have them be there for the Battle of Light versus Darkness deal. Who knows? That's certainly possible. Or maybe even Kairi is gathering them all together since she's one of them as well.
Could be.
That could be something. All right. Well, I know, John, you were kind of teasing the a lot of the Pixar ones you want. What are some of the, like? Do you guys have, like, lists? I sort of put together one because Derek, you sort of told me to do that.
It was like, just because one of the things I did was go through, because sometimes you forget about some of the lesser known Disney ones, or like, oh yeah, that one. You just don't think of it off the top of your head. So that was more my thing. It's just trying to find a movie sort of that fits that sort of idea.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
But John, what about any 2D or classic or main Disney canon lineup of animated movies?
Or 3D, because like Disney animation is Tangled and Frozen, and those are CG movies, so the whole
they're not directly related to Pixar in any way, and like I said earlier, I already mentioned Frozen. I mentioned Toy Story. Those are the big two for me, because again, I have a harder time reaching into the Renaissance age that Kingdom Hearts hasn't already covered, and I'm trying to think. I didn't make a list. my forgiveness, please.
Yeah, that's okay. One I've always wanted to see for a long time, really ever since the series began, is I loved Robin Hood as a kid, and I'd love to see Robin Hood come back and be a world. I think that could be be really interesting. Prince John as a villain is great. There's a lot of fun stuff they could do with it, but again, one of the problems you start to run into is it's a forest setting. Is a forest setting different from, let's say, the Jungle Book, and they finally get a jungle setting in there? How are they going to keep these worlds different? I mean, they did rip off the same dance sequence from both those movies.
I think that one's possible. I guess that would depend on, like, the priority of, like, all right, which like, when you have just how every Sonic game has their Green Hill Zone equivalent. It's like, all right, what is our green world? Do we have it be Robin Hood, or do we have it be, could it be like the festival closer to the kingdom, or is it in the woods where, like, him and Little John are, etc. I don't know. That I do love Robin Hood, so that's certainly that would be a cool one to see.
Mm-hmm. This is not so much of a world, but I like a Goofy movie side quest. Bring Goofy's son Max.
Oh, that'd be great.
I don't know. You can't really make a world based off of that, but that's something I would like to see.
As cool as that would be, I feel like because of Goofy's role. Well, also we haven't really had any, like, Disney Channel stuff for one thing, but I think also considering Goofy's role in this, like, universe, having all of a sudden, like, the Goofy movie / Goof Troop thing exist, especially, like, because you think about, like, Pete and all them, it's like, how does this make any sense? Like, maybe at best I could see Max, like, in it somewhere, like in the Disney castle or something like that, maybe. But,
like a soldier in training, and
that could be really cool. But I mean, as far as a Goof Troop or Goofy movie world, I don't know if they would do that.
Again, it's just something I want to see.
Listen, I should mention too, even though I'm probably going to shoot a lot of ideas down like an asshole, but I do want to establish I would love to see all the stuff. I would love to see Pixar movie levels and Star Wars and Marvel and Disney Channel, Disney Afternoon cartoon levels and things. That would be amazing. I'm also thinking in terms of, like, overly realistically in terms of what I think may or may not happen with the game. Because again, like I was saying in the last discussion, I'm trying to put myself in, like, the minds of the developers and, like, what is what they may or may not do based on like previous stuff. You know what I mean? Other new ones. I'm trying to think because I have my list, but I want to hear what you guys think too.
With your whole Max thing, Johnny, what's funny is that isn't the guy who plays Max in the Goofy movie also Noel in Final Fantasy 13 too? So it's not like he's shy from Square Enix Productions.
Hey, we need you back for what? Max.
Really?
Like,
okay.
hey, what are you guys doing? It's a Goofy movie. Oh, okay. By all means. And I just want to say, the only reason why I keep reaching into the Renaissance Age pool is because I believe those are the most. Those are Disney movies everyone is the most familiar with. Because if you were to ask me if I've watched Snow White, Pinocchio, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, I'm gonna say 20 years ago. I haven't been keeping up with those. I guess Peter Pan being the one exception because I really do like Peter Pan. And I'm looking at the list of Disney films right now from the 90s going into 2000s, and Kingdom Hearts 2, Kingdom Hearts the series has covered pretty much all bases for the animated films, and that's why I immediately jumped to the 3D films and Pixar. But I've said what I needed to say on those, so I'm at this point. I'm just sitting down eating popcorn and waiting for you guys to bring it to your worlds. So
Kingdom Hearts is an interesting kind of its balance is both what is relevant right now to Disney. And also what is classic and accepted, like the Renaissance stuff. Disney Infinity, I think, is much more like, what is all of our IPs that we have, everything that is popular right now. So it's like the newest Marvel movie, the newest Star Wars movie, the newest Disney Pixar movie, and regular Disney movie, etc. It's all of that. Kingdom Hearts is different, where they do definitely have, like, I'm sure Frozen is absolutely going to get a level in Kingdom Hearts 3. Like, no question. Just because of how incredibly, massively successful it would be, and also they don't have a snow level, they don't have anything else like that to toss in there, so it would work aesthetically. But then, as far as the classic stuff, there's plenty of things that they have not delved into. I mean, even like Lilo and Stitch is like not super old; it's not Renaissance period, but it's pretty old by this point. Not like that could be considered a classic movie by this point. So.
Another idea I've had is Emperor's New Groove, but that movie's style is just so frenetic. I'm like, I'm not even sure if Kingdom Hearts could handle something like Emperor's New Groove and get the weird style that it has, but I'd love to see it because I love that movie.
It would need a rapid pace.
I don't think Emperor's New Groove is out of the question. I think that it's not as likely compared to other ones, but it's one that I would love to see because that is one of my favorite animated movies of all time, like hands down.
Yeah, they would need to get the pace right on that though, because Emperor's New Groove moves so fast in terms of like rapid fire comedy delivery, and Kingdom Hearts I think would need to mimic that, which I don't think it would be able. Well, that's something they can't really do in the 1 and 2, but 3, new technology. Hey, we can deliver lines very fast now.
Maybe.
So I would love, but in terms of how that world will be designed, I guess they will probably emphasize more of the Aztec culture, not so much with the jungle or anything like that. So in that regard, I would love to see the Emperor's New Groove that way, because I'm totally down for that too. Yeah.
I think definitely like the Golden City in particular, that setting I think would be a great place for it in particular. Because if again it goes back to my Green Hill theory joke or whatever, where like if it's in the forest where Kuzco and Pacha are trying to head back to the Golden City and they're racing against Yzma and Krunk. It's like it's another. It just comes down to this is another green foresty world. We've already done this. Like, why bother? So I think that would be the biggest factor like against it. But I don't think it's out of the question, and I would love to see that one.
That's another one that's sad because Yzma is such a great villain, and Eartha Kitt is no longer here, and that's just sad.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can only hope like somebody, I don't know, like Susan Silo or somebody that would probably be a good voice match. But
Eartha Kitt
either way,
totally would have came back for it too because she was there for the TV series, which wasn't that good.
That's true. That is true. You can get James Arnold Taylor to do his beautiful David Spade voice match.
There you go.
I guess I'll throw some other ones out here.
We'll go back and forth.
Sure. Frozen, like I mentioned, not one that I want, but I just accepted like it's going to happen. Although, that said, I'm very grateful that they revealed Tangled first, because I love Tangled. I actually like that one more than Frozen, personally. But so I'm happy that they revealed that one. That one I'm really excited about. They're super recent, but maybe still possible. Big Hero 6, San Francisco, Tokyo, or whatever. Humanly possible.
I agree with that one because I that was One of the things I was thinking of too, because as you said, I'm not completely positive that they'll put Star Wars Marvel in Kingdom Hearts 3. Disney might push for it, and that's why it'll end up there. But Big Hero 6 would be a great way to get, hey, we do have Marvel in here. Kinda. You know? And it is incredibly popular. Like, people would love to have Baymax on their team.
Oh, totally, yeah. I think that of like the newest of the new stuff, I think that Frozen is the most likely, but Big Hero 6 might have been like a little too recent that it couldn't have been worked in, but it's certainly possible. Some older ones, although they were not hits, I think purely just as levels, they would be so cool and so much fun. Atlantis, The Lost Empire, which I mean, you know, say what you will about the film, it's certainly not one of their best in the world, but my God, like that would be an underwater level I would eat the hell out of, like much more so than Little Mermaid.
So delicious.
Yum.
And yeah, and then Treasure Planet, which is again not one of their best. I personally really enjoy that one. It's one of my you know, guilty pleasure faves, I guess you could say. But you know, the big moon port and then going to the actual Treasure Planet, like how incredible that would be, like in PS4 graphics, like God. Mm-hmm. But those I think would more so come down to like, all right, like they're what are they regarded as classics or not? Are they relevant, or do people care enough to even see them in there in the first place? Would the team in Japan, you know, find them to be fittable for it? I don't know.
One that we haven't mentioned yet that's more recent is The Princess and the Frog.
Yes.
Do you think that has any shot, since it is based in, again, real world setting with New Orleans? And do you think would we be mainly frogs the entire time? Like you get there and Donald, Goofy, and Sora are all frogs instead of humans, and they're fighting
or bayou creatures of some kind. You know?
Exactly.
Like Goofy's a firefly or whatever, or like Goofy's like a crocodile and Donald's a firefly or something. I don't know. I was thinking about that a lot. I don't know. I really don't know about Princess and the Frog. That's one that like it might just not fit like exactly what they need for just again like just the gameplay standpoint. I don't know about that one. I like that movie. I think that could be cool. That one I'm really not sure if that would work or not. I'm super conflicted on it.
Compared to other Disney worlds or movies, Princess and the Frog, and forgive me, I haven't seen that movie in a long time, so my memory's a little blurred, but I don't remember it being as fantastical as other movies because of its New Orleans setting. You know, it has a foundation in real life, despite, you know, the whole Princess and the Frog thing. I don't see how that would translate well to justify Heartless going in the world, and why Sora, Donald, and Goofy would need to bring their attention to the place.
I mean, well, the Disney Princess movie worlds and Birth by Sleep, you know, proved that they could still make those work perfectly fine. I think, I mean, Dr. Facilier.
Oh, he'd be a great villain.
In Princess and the Frog is fantastical enough in and of himself that I think that they could figure something out.
Oh man, a voodoo Heartless.
That was the guy that Keith David voiced, right?
Yes.
The structure of it is something that makes me like think about like how I just really try to think how would that work, like with fitting, because you have to. It also comes down to another factor I didn't mention is how do we retroactively put Sora, Donald, and Goofy into these Disney movies, still have them basically tell the same kind of emotional story, you know, more or less.
That seems simple enough for me. They help them, they get to the world, they find them as frogs, they think they're actual frogs at first, and they find out they're humans, and they decide to help them along the way. That's really easy to retrofit, as far as I know, as long as you start with them as frogs.
In theory, but even then, it's like, is there a conflict? Like, what is the boss just like a crocodile Heartless? Do we not see Dr. Facilier? Do we not know about the other stuff that happens in the full?
No, we'd totally have Dr. Facilier doing his thing, and we'd fight like a voodoo Heartless, and I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I just want Keith David back.
Oh, that'd be great.
Dr. Facilier would be a very, very, very fun boss fight. I would love to see that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna whip out the big one for me, flat out. I would love to see Wreck-It Ralph.
That one is one I'm just not sure of.
I feel pretty confident in that one because it's relevant, it's recent enough, it's perfectly doable. It would be a very unique stage. in terms of like it wouldn't be like any of the other ones. I think. Okay, so we've talked about like the Olympus Coliseum is what the entire Hercules world is called as a whole. You know, I think that the Wreck-It Ralph world would be Game Central Station, and going to Fix It Felix, Hero's Duty, and Sugar Rush are the individual parts of that world as a whole. I think, or you know what, maybe even going further, because for those of you who don't know, including maybe you guys, Wreck-It Ralph in Japan is just called Sugar Rush. Because I guess they found the fact that it takes place mostly in Sugar Rush. They just figured that they would do it that way. Maybe even Sugar Rush would be just it.
Yeah, I was just about to say, you mentioned the game station, and I would like to see them incorporate the games that are within the Wreck-It Ralph universe, but because the movie primarily takes place in Sugar Rush, I would imagine they would just make a world out of Sugar Rush. But with that said, I like to see that. Because do we have a candy world in Kingdom Hearts? Do we? I don't think so.
Well, especially if say we don't have a Tron stage, which we might not get one, because I don't know if we've done the main movie, we've done Legacy, we don't have they're probably not going to do something based on the new show or whatever. So I mean, a video game world, or rather more specifically, an airport with a, suburban, apartment building and a, Call of Duty Warzone and a, Mario Kart level with giant candy everywhere. Like there's nothing else in any other Disney World movie, Disney movie world, rather, sorry, English, that fits that. So, it's certainly possible, I would say.
There is ways they could get around it, and I'd like to see it because I love Wreck-It Ralph, Yeah,
let's be realistic here. They're not going to go out of their way to get all the licenses to be one-to-one creation.
No,
Ralph
was. No, that's not going to happen.
Oh, God, how funny would it be if it was like one of them was like the Final Fantasy Dissidia like arcade version, the Kingdom Hearts version of Mr. Litwack's arcade had like other like licensed arcade games that were done by SquareSoft. Like even if it was just like here's the entrance to it, but you can't go to it, you just like see it like in the background like of the Game Central station. How funny would that be?
Yeah, like have a villains therapy session with all the Final Fantasy villains. You got Sephiroth, Kefka, Ultimecia sitting in a good like I'm bad and that's good.
Wreck-It Ralph world would definitely require a lot of really careful like making it work within the confines of how Kingdom Hearts just is, but I think that it is definitely possible, and that's the one more than anything I would love to see the most, like flat out.
I think since we already have like the Final Fantasy characters in the Kingdom Hearts world, we can't really have any of the villains or anything else like that in the background, but I think Dragon Quest could work. Put Dragon Quest characters in the background as bring in that Enix side.
Is there a Dragon Quest arcade? Because remember, it's all arcade games, so...
I don't know, but who cares?
Who cares? I just want Gohan in there. I mean,
Goku lives.
Put Chrono in there. Why not?
Oh God! Don't do that to me.
Hey, I was happy when I got
my heart like that.
When I got World Ends With You characters in Dream Drop Distance. I was so happy.
Yeah, possible. Maybe we'll see them again. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? But I think, you mentioned before, like, okay, so you obviously do not think that we'll get any type of Star Wars or Marvel characters in this game. What about you, Johnny? Do you think that's the same way? Or do you think Disney's going to be like, no, we're going to push this in here because this is our big franchise and that will really draw people to it?
As much as I would love to see that, I'm in agreement with Chris that I don't think they're going to push that just yet because you guys mentioned Disney Infinity. And I think they already get enough of their push with that as of now. Yeah, I think they want to do that with Kingdom Hearts at some point, but not with 3. Yeah, I hear people say time and time again they want, Marvel worlds. They want Spider-Man, Deadpool. I hear so many times, and Star Wars. I would love. I'm not expecting like a Death Star world or anything like that. I would love to maybe say like I'd be okay with a Darth Vader like super boss or something like that. I would love to see that. Hey, I mean, he already kind of fought Darth Vader earlier. Zenma's had like 2 lightsaber keyblades, so that's close enough. But I would like to, if they were going to see anything to the extent of those, I would think they'd be relegated to just boss fights, not necessarily worlds. So with that, I agree. I think they're just going to stick primarily to Disney worlds that they've established and save the big hitters for the fresh plot whenever 3 wraps up. So, yeah.
On those same lines, do you think we could see any Disney afternoon shows? Like, there's not a whole lot to choose from since we can't really do DuckTales because we already have Scrooge McDuck and Huey, Dewey, and Louie doing their own thing. And I doubt if we're going to do a Jungle Book world, we're not going to be able to get Tailspin or anything like that. But what about stuff like Darkwing Duck and Gargoyles? Do you think those could pop in, or do you think they're going to sort of stay away from the Disney afternoon aspect of Disney, I don't know, material?
Well, it's weird because I always thought that, especially with the handheld games, that's what they would use the TV shows from Disney, because an install base for handhelds, Kingdom Hearts handheld games doesn't seem to have as much of a priority as console games, despite how rare they are. And for there, I would think you would see them more there. For a console numbered Kingdom Hearts game that wants to go big or go home with the worlds they represent, I think it's very unlikely. And I can't speak as a person who watched Disney Channel, because I never did. I was Team Nickelodeon, Team Cartoon Network, all the way. So I don't know anything about Recess or Kim Possible or whatever other show. You see, because I have show heads in my name, but I'm not even sure if they're Disney or not. Like Ben 10, is that Disney?
No, that's Cartoon Network.
You see, that's what I'm talking about. You see, they all sort of blend in for me, so I wouldn't be able to choose what TV show would be represented. Maybe Darkwing Duck, maybe Gargoyles, because that's Keith David again. So by all means, but I wouldn't be able to help you out on that.
I think a lot of them could work. It just comes down to if they would do them or not. And that's very up in the air, just because we've not really had much of that kind of material in the show to begin with. So I wonder about that, but I don't know. I mean, it is still also possible. I think that the Disney TV shows are maybe a little bit more possible in my mind compared to the outside Disney IPs like Marvel and Star Wars or Pixar even. But even then, I think maybe at best, maybe we might get some other characters wandering around, Radiant Garden or Twilight Town or something maybe. But yeah, at best. Yeah.
Oh yeah, speaking of Twilight Town, one of the things I actually missed in my analysis is the area you fight in is actually in front of the pathway that goes to the old mansion, but it's bricked up. It's no longer there. Just real quick, what do you guys... Is that significant? Well, obviously it's significant, but what do you think that could mean? We're not going to go to the old mansion anymore, as simple as that? Or are we going to see, if we go back to these worlds, is that an indicator that we're going to see some major changes to a lot of these classic worlds?
Well, what's left in the mansion at this point? Because the mansion was primarily used as the holding grounds for Sora recovering after Chain of Memories, and the entry point to the digital Twilight Town that Roxas lived in for a bit. Besides that, there's nothing else of interest there. Naminé's gone, so is Roxas. Diz, Ansem, I should say, is elsewhere. I think he blew up, actually, if I remember Kingdom Hearts 2.
He's in the Realm of Darkness.
Oh, okay. Then he's fine. Oh, God. Kingdom Hearts has a home for infinite losers too.
Yeah, pretty much, because he's hanging out with Aqua right now.
Okay. In that essence, I don't think we're going to see the mansion ever again, because it doesn't mean anything anymore.
I think Radiant Garden will probably still be kind of the home base for our heroes. Or no, you know what? Actually, maybe not. I'm sure we'll go back to Radiant Garden. I think Jensen's Tower will probably be the base of operations for the forces of light. While maybe the world that never was, or someplace else entirely, will be Xehanort's headquarters with his Neo Organization 13.
The forces of light. We got to make T-shirts.
Yep. Oh boy, but I think again, there's just a lot of potential when it comes to Disney worlds, and that's one of the fun things about Kingdom Hearts is seeing like, okay, what are they going to do next? What are they going to surprise us with? Because I'm pretty sure they're going to put something in here that just none of us like, really? That? Like, and we'll have no idea that it's coming.
There's one last thing I want to say.
Sure.
For these worlds, regardless of the worlds they choose, I only ask, fill them with life, please. Because recently when we're doing Land of Dragons on my Let's Play, it's so vast and empty. Mm-hmm. As is, that was the same problem the Notre Dame world had in Dream Drop Distance. We're talking about exploring towns and lively worlds, but it's lively in words only because there is nobody else here besides Sora, Donald, and Goofy, and it just feels so stale. So if whatever worlds you're going to bring in, especially if it one's from that has a real life foundation, please fill it with people, because I like to know who I'm saving rather than just this grass on the floor. I want someone to appreciate.
I agree.
What I do.
I think that's for my final thought on this one. I think that's very important, because maybe it's like it's shallow to just like grind it down to the most basic deal beyond just like, this is my favorite Disney movie or whatever. I want to see this movie made into a Kingdom Hearts level. It has to, it has to be an interesting environment that's varied. So it's a cool level to go through that's not the same. This is the green forest from this movie. This is the jungle from this movie. This is the green field from this movie. Like for every stage, it's that, and then having them feel like just they're filled with life. That there's something that really make you feel like you're a part of this world. In the grand scheme of things. Like I think that's because we were talking about the technological limitations of the previous ones. That doesn't exist here, or at least it hopefully in theory doesn't, based on PS4's capacity. So I'm hoping that goes back to my other earlier point of the very first point I made about how I think this is going to hopefully be on a bigger and better scale than Kingdom Hearts has ever been, on all aspects, not just the stages. So,
yeah, like I understand like having set pieces from whatever Disney movie they're using is important. It's like, hey, remember this? This is in that movie that you watched. Yeah, that's great, but don't make it the defining factor of what makes that world what it is. Mm-hmm. A set piece in the end is a set piece. I'm more interested in what's going on in the world.
Yeah. None of these worlds feel lived in at any time.
No.
Other than the original worlds. You kind of get that with Radiant Garden and Twilight Town and Traverse Town. Those are the only worlds that I've ever seen populated. It's the only worlds that's like, we can actually put NPCs in here. So maybe Disney limits them and up saying like, no, you can only use the character designs from this movie. It's like, help us out here. We don't have a lot of character designs.
But there's only 2.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, I think that covers it for our Disney World discussion for Kingdom Hearts 3. So thank you guys for watching. And if you like this video, be sure to like us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain. And Johnny, where can they find you at?
Okay, you can find me on my main channel. It's some call me Johnny. It's youtube.com/somecallmejohnny. Also, I do video game reviews. I do, as of recently, I've been doing reaction videos people seem to like. So you can have a good laugh there and see if I can get you to play some video games. You can find me in the links in the description below.
And Chris?
You can find me at Kerbifer on Twitter. And as well as my YouTube channel, Kerbifer15, where I do cartoons and vlogs and all sorts of stuff. So thanks for having me on both of these videos and for being patient and waiting for me to be done with this convention. In the meantime, I appreciate that.
No problem. So. I wanted to have my Kingdom Hearts crew here, even though we're missing Ash.
Yes, Ash, if you hear this later on,
say a Nort.
We're very sorry you couldn't join. We did miss you, but
He's off at Comic-Con.
Hopefully we covered most things that maybe you thought as well. So, fingers crossed.
Hopefully. All right. And, of course, stay tuned to GameXplain for more on Kingdom Hearts and other things gaming, too. Until next time, guys. Bye.
And you and I, there's a new land. Angels in flight from Satan. Sanctuary, my sanctuary.